Hey friends. Okay, so today we are writing systems from tables and graphs. So go ahead and click this blue link, open this up in a new tab so that it's not really tiny. You can see it. And I'm going to work a couple problems with you, and then I'm going to let you work the rest of them on your own. I got some answers already on here. Okay, obviously you see the answers right there. Why is it not undoing? Okay, here we go. All right, so when you have a table, anytime we see a table, I want your first thought to always, always, always be stat edit. Always go to stat edit in your calculator, okay? But now, instead of just having one x value and one y value, because we're writing one equation, we're now dealing with two equations. So we have one x value and two y values. So we have an x for this y and an x for this y, okay? So we're going to write two equations, but we're going to do the same thing as stat edit. So I have a table. I'm going to open up my calculator on your Chromebook. If you go down to your little toolbar at the bottom and hit the little circle where you search in your apps and type in TI, a little calculator that looks like this will pop up. You click on it. You have this calculator on your Chromebook, okay? So we're going to do stat and edit. My x value, so my time is going to go in L1. So I can do 5, oops, I messed up. There we go, 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25. Then I'm going to arrow over to L2. And my tickets purchased is the first thing I'm going to deal with. So I'm thinking about this as two different tables. I have this table, and then I have this and this column. The first and third column is going to be a second table, okay? So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Okay, so then I'm going to finish out stat edit just for this table, just for this part of the table. So do stat, go over to calc, go down to len reg, hit enter, go down to calculate, and hit enter again. So we have y equals 0.2 x plus 0. So I'm going to pull this up. Let's write this equation out. We have y equals mx plus b. And in our calculator, it says y equals ax plus b. Well, we know a is the same thing as m, right? So it tells me that a is 0.2, b is 0. So if I plug those in, I have y equals 0.2x plus 0. But I don't have to write that 0, so I'm going to make it go away. We just have 0.2. So if I would look at my equations, my options over here, I have a bunch of fractions. And then I have a negative 0.2, which is not right because my 0.2 is not negative. And I have a 2, which is not right because it's 0.2. So I can eliminate C and D, and I'm down to just A and B. But I need to know what is this fraction. So if you do second mode, it'll take you back to your home screen and type in 0.2. And then if you do math, enter. So hit math, then hit enter twice. It will turn it to a fraction for you. So it's 1/5. So my equation over here that we had is actually y equals 1/5 x. So I'm going to look 1/5 x. Well, that answer choice, the only one I have is B. So my answer is B. Let's double check though. Let's go ahead and put the second part of the table in. I want to show you how to do this. So do second plus 712. So clear out your calculator. That's all we're doing there. Second plus 712 clears your calculator. And then we're going to go to stat and edit again. We're going to fill in this table again. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25. And we're going to go over to L2. Instead of putting tickets purchased, we're now putting food purchased in this column. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. We're going to do stat, go over to calc, down to len reg, and hit enter. Go down to calculate and hit enter again. And this time we have the equation where a is 0.4, b is 0. So we have y equals 0.4x plus 0, but I don't have to write plus 0. That doesn't change anything. But let's convert 0.4 to a fraction. So second mode, get us back to the home screen. Then we're going to type in 0.4. Oh, it did not take the decimal point. So 0.4 math, enter. And that tells us that that fraction is 2/5. So this is y equals 2/5 x. So I have these two equations. Y equals 1/5 x and y equals 2/5 x. And that is B. Y equals 1/5 x, y equals 2/5 x. Okay, so now I want to know what is the x value of the solution to the system. So when are they the same? They're the same, and when we've looked at the past few days, where they cross, where the two lines cross, okay? So if they cross at any point, then that point where they cross is their solution. So this is one solution. If they never cross, they're parallel. This is no solutions. And if they are on top of each other, if they're the same line, this is infinite solutions, okay? So we have one solution, no solutions, infinite solutions. So let's go to Desmos and let's type these equations in. Make sure you're using the Desmos from Canvas. So in Canvas, you have this little link right here. It says Desmos. Open that up. It should be the Desmos that says star version. This is the Desmos you can use on the star test. So you need to know how to use this Desmos. This Desmos does not allow you to do all the things that the internet Desmos does, okay? So if you're using the internet Desmos and it's graphing things for you, and you're able to get answers that way, that's fine for your homework. But when you get to the STAR test, you're not going to be able to know, you're not going to know how to solve for y. You're not going to know how to do things because you haven't been practicing them, okay? So make sure you're using this version of Desmos so you're not surprised at the STAR test. All right, so we are going to put these two lines into Desmos. So we have y equals 1/5 x. Oops, wow, get my arrow over to get out of the denominator. And we have y equals 2/5 x. And where do they cross? Right here. If I click on that point, it tells me they cross at 0, 0. So my question was asking me, what is the x value of this point? So the x value is the first number, which is 0. So the x value of my solution here, if it will let me type ever, there we go, is 0. Okay, so on this table, do stat edit again. You're going to have to do it twice. So this is your L1, L2, and then again L1 and L2. Get your equations, and then what is the x value of the solution again? Down here, we broke the table up into two tables because sometimes you'll see them like this as well. So you'll do stat edit for this, and then stat edit for this. Get your two equations, okay? All right. So on the graphs, now we're writing equations. We're choosing the system from the graph, from the lines on the graph. Well, we know how to write equations from a graph. We know this. We've done this with only one line. So now we just need to write two equations from two different lines. So for this first line, we have, we know some things about writing equations, right? Let me pull this over here to this side. And I'm going to scroll up, get that out of the way. So we know our equation should look like y equals mx plus b. There we go. And if we know what m and we know what b are, then we can plug those values in and write the equation. So my b is my y-intercept. M is slope. So if I can figure out my slope and my y-intercept, then I can write the equation. So let's see if we can figure those out. We're going to look at this line right here, okay? So this line, my y-intercept, where I cross the y-axis, it crosses at -3. So my b is -3. My slope is, I'm going to pick 2 points. So here's a point there and there's a point there. I'm going to do rise over run. So rise, 1, 2, run, 1. So 2 over 1, and that's a positive slope. And 2 divided by 1 is just 2. So my m is 2, my b is -3. So this equation would be y equals, instead of m, I have 2x minus 3. So instead of b, I have minus 3. So y equals 2x minus 3. Then I have a second line here, and this line doesn't cross the x-axis. So I can't, it doesn't cross the y-axis. It does have an arrow, so that means it's going to keep going. It's eventually going to cross the y-axis. So another way I can write an equation for a line we know how to do is stat edit. I can pick 2 points on this line. So here's a point here. Remember, you have to go in the elevator before you go up. So we get an x value and then our y value. So this point right here is 2, 1. And then we have another point right here. So this is 1, 4. So I can set these up as a table and put them in stat edit my calculator. So I have 2, 1, and 1, 4. So I can go to my calculator and clear it out. Second plus 7, 1, 2. And then we'll do stat and edit. It will catch up with me. There we go. L1, I'm going to put my x value. So I have 2 and 1. And then L2, I'm going to put my y values, 1 and 4. Then we're going to do stat, go over to calc, down to len reg, down to calculate, and enter. And this equation is going to be y equals, pull this back up here. My a value is negative 3x plus 7. Okay? So my two equations are y equals 2x minus 3 and y equals negative 3x plus 7. So my answer is D. Oh my goodness, this is being so slow. Okay, my answer is D. And then what is the solution to the system? Well, where do they cross? Right here at 2, 1. So my solution is 2, 1. Okay. So number 6. A few of these, if you look at your answer choices on like number 6, number 7, and number 8, these equations are not written in standard form. I'm sorry. These equations are not written in slope-intercept form. They don't look like y equals mx plus b. So we have a couple different options to figure out what our answers are, okay? One, you can sit here and solve all of these equations for y, plug them each into Desmos, and match your graph. Another thing we can do is we can go ahead and find our solution. So our solution here is the point where they cross, and so that point is 0, negative 2. So I'm going to go ahead and write that out. 0, negative 2. And when we have our solution means that if I plug this x and this y into my equation, all of my equations, both equations, it's going to work for both of them, okay? So we could solve all of these for y and graph in Desmos, or we can plug our values in and see if they work out. So I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to take my answer choices from A. Take my answer choices from A, okay? This line is being weird. Okay. So we have x plus 2y equals 2. I'm going to use the x and the y from my solution because if this is the solution, then that means it should work for this equation. So my x is negative 2. All right, we have 0, negative 2. Oops, let me move this guy over here. This is x and y. So my x is negative 2 plus 2 times 0 equals 2. Well, that's negative 2. 2 times 0 is 0, so plus 0 equals 2. So that gives me negative 2 equals 2. That is equals 2. That is not true. So A is not my answer. Then we can go to B. With our first equation, I'm going to actually do the second equation on that one. X minus y equals 2. Well, that means it looks like I'm going to plug in my values. -2 minus, oops, wow, come on, Miss Green. My x is 0, so 0 minus -2 equals 2. Well, 0 doesn't even matter. That goes away, right? But minus a negative is actually a positive, so 2 equals 2. Well, that's correct. So let's go ahead and check the other equation. 6 times my x value is 0 plus -2 equals -4. So 6 times 0 is 0. Positive plus a -2 is the same thing as -2 equals -4. So -2 equals -4. Well, that didn't work. So because it didn't work for one of my equations, it's not my solution. That's not my system. So let's go ahead and go to C. We have x plus 2y equals -4. So 0 plus 2 times -2 equals -4. So 0 plus 2 times -2 is -4. So -4 equals -4. That worked out. Let's try the second equation. 6 times x. Oh, my goodness. Come on. 6x minus y equals 2. So 6 times 0 minus -2 equals 2. So 6 times 0 is 0. Minus a negative becomes a plus 2 equals 2. So 2 equals 2. That's true also. So my answer is C. When it's true for both equations, that's why it's the solution. When it's true for both equations, it's a solution to the system. Okay? So the answer here would be C. So this is one way. You can just find your solution, plug them into all the options. The other way would be you'd have to solve all these equations for y and plug them into Desmos. Okay? So I want you to go ahead and do finish out 3 and 4. I just did 5 and 6 with you, so you should do 7 and 8, and then you're good to go. All right? Have a good day. See you later.